Okay, so get this. We're diving deep into The Boyfriend today by Frida McFadden, but looks like you don't want the whole plot spoiled, right? Just enough to pique your interest.
Yeah, definitely. And, with McFadden, well, it can be tough. I mean, even little details can give stuff away.
Yeah, that's what I love about her books, though. You never know when something small will come back later and be a huge clue.
Exactly.
So, okay, this story has two timelines, right? Present day with Sydney, who's trying to, well, she's back in the dating world.
Hmm.
And then we also have chapters in the past with Tom in high school.
Yeah.
What was it that hooked you? What stood out?
Well, I mean, the two timelines thing was definitely interesting, but it was really the way that McFadden slowly reveals how dark things are, in both timelines.
Right.
So you start with Sydney, and she's just trying to find a decent date after a seriously bad one with this guy, Real Kevin, and he, completely lied on his profile.
Oh, man, those chapters were so funny. When Gretchen, her friend, tries to do the whole rescue call thing and it totally backfires.
Oh, yeah.
I was laughing out loud. But then things take a dark turn with Real Kevin and this mysterious guy, the mystery man, comes out of nowhere and saves her.
Right. You're like, who is this guy?
Yes, exactly.
McFadden knows how to keep you reading, and of course, Mystery Man ends up being Tom, and then Sydney starts dating him.
Oh,
It
wow.
seems like a normal romance, But
Yeah.
then you get thrown back to Tom's past, and teenage Tom is a completely different story.
Yeah, he has this kind of dark energy,
Agreed.
like a troubled family and a fascination with death.
Yeah.
It's a little more than just teenage angst.
Mm-hmm.
It's unsettling, but I couldn't stop reading.
Exactly. And the whole time there's this tension because, the two timelines have to connect somehow.
Oh, yeah.
Then, bam, a girl from Tom's school goes missing, and they find her murdered later.
Oh, no.
The police are investigating, and guess who they question?
Tom.
Yeah, he tutored the girl, so he's automatically a suspect. But then years later, Sydney's friend Bonnie is murdered.
Oh, wow.
And the police think the two cases might be connected.
Hold on. So now there's a possible serial killer out there, and Sydney's boyfriend has this mysterious past. She could be in serious danger here.
Yeah.
What did you think of Sydney as a character? Could you relate to her at all?
Oh, absolutely. I think anyone who's tried online dating can relate to her experience, the good and the bad ones, She's smart and she's good at figuring things out, but she's also a little naive, which makes her more vulnerable.
Yeah, I agree. And then you add in the fact that Tom has been lying to her about his last name, his job, and even his phone is weird.
Yeah, so many red flags.
Yeah, what's going on there?
It all feels like he's hiding something, and that's where it becomes a real psychological thriller.
Okay.
You start to question everything. Can you trust anyone? Is Tom who he says he is? McFadden keeps you guessing, and that's what makes this book so hard to put down.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have these two separate stories, but they're starting to overlap in some creepy ways, and then McFadden throws in another twist. Tom killed his own father.
And buried the body with his friend Slug. I mean, that changes things, right? Now we know for sure that Tom is capable of violence, but it also makes the story more complicated.
Yeah, like is he a cold-blooded killer, or was it self-defense? Is he trying to protect someone? Is the same thing going to happen to Sydney? I have so many questions.
And that's exactly what McFadden wants. She wants you thinking about the possibilities and coming up with theories. She wants you to be looking over your shoulder. It's
Yeah.
so clever.
Okay, so to recap, we have a dead father, a suspicious boyfriend, and a possible serial killer who's targeting women he meets through dating apps. And Sydney's right in the middle of it all.
And that's where we'll have to leave things for now. Remember, we're just scratching the surface here. To get the full experience, you really need to dive into The Boyfriend yourself.
This is so intriguing. I can't wait to hear more. But don't worry, we'll be right back to keep talking about The Boyfriend after a quick break.
Yeah, stay tuned.
All right, we're back and ready for more of The Boyfriend. Last time we left off with so many questions, like a dead father, a suspicious boyfriend, and a possible serial killer. It's a lot to take in.
Yeah, and the tension just keeps building.
Ah.
One of the things that really stood out to me was how McFadden uses these little details to create suspense, like Sydney's thing with the first aid kit.
Oh, yeah. At first it seems like a quirk, but as the story goes on, it starts to feel like she's preparing for something bad to happen.
Yeah.
Which, with her dating history might not be a bad idea.
Right.
And then there's the scene with Tom and the glue traps who kills a mouse with a hammer on a date.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That was intense. And it's not just the violence itself, it's the way he reacts. Like he's totally detached.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder what else is he capable of.
Exactly. And it's those little hints of darkness that make you question everything about him. Speaking of unsettling, I have to ask about how Tom reacts when Sydney mentions her friend Bonnie's murder. He seemed kind of off.
He did, didn't he? That initial panic and the way he avoids talking about his past, especially his father's death, it all feels very calculated, like he's hiding something.
Hmm.
And then there's the whole phone thing.
Oh my gosh, yes. The fake name, the work phone, the missing personal phone. It's like textbook suspicious behavior.
Right, and it all points to him lying. The question is why? Is he trying to protect himself? Or is it something worse? Meanwhile, the police are investigating Bonnie's murder, and they find something disturbing.
Yeah, they find out that another woman who was using the same dating app, Cynch, was murdered in a similar way a year and a half earlier.
Right.
Suddenly, it's not just about Bonnie anymore. There could be a serial killer targeting women on the app.
And Sydney's right in the middle of it. The stakes are so much higher now, and the tension is almost unbearable. You just want to yell at her, "Run away, he's the killer!" But of course, it's not that simple.
McFadden loves to keep us guessing. Just when you think you have Tom figured out, she throws in another twist, like that flashback scene where Tom confronts his father in the kitchen. You can just feel the rage building, like something terrible is about to happen.
And the way she describes the violence is so raw and real. It's not over the top, but it definitely stays with you. And then to make matters worse, his friend Slug is there and sees the whole thing. Talk about a creepy accomplice.
Slug is such a fascinating character.
Yeah.
He's obviously troubled, but he's also completely loyal to Tom. You get the feeling he's capable of anything, which makes him really dangerous.
Yeah, he adds another layer of darkness to the story. And then back in the present day, Sydney finds something terrifying in Tom's apartment, a scrunchie that belonged to Bonnie.
That's the moment when all those little suspicions, all those red flags suddenly make sense. It's like all the pieces of the puzzle are finally coming together, and the picture they're forming is terrifying.
Yeah, it's a huge shock for Sydney and for the reader. And her reaction is so real, the panic, the fear, the need to get away.
And she does escape in a pretty clever way. But instead of finding safety at her friend Gretchen's apartment, she gets another shock. Gretchen has been lying to her this whole time.
That's what's so brilliant about McFadden's writing. Just when you think you're safe, she pulls the rug out from under you. You realize you can't trust anyone, not even the people closest to Sydney.
And it gets even crazier when Gretchen reveals that she knows more about Tom than she's letting on. Suddenly their pasts are connected in ways we never could have imagined. It's like peeling back layers of a really disturbing onion.
And that's where we'll have to leave you hanging for now. All the secrets, the lies, the connections between these characters, you'll have to keep listening to find out what happens next.
The suspense is killing me. What does Gretchen know? Is she involved somehow? We'll be right back to untangle this web of secrets after a quick break. Don't go anywhere. All right, we're back, and I am still trying to process that last part. Gretchen, Sydney's best friend, has been lying to her this whole time, and she seems to know way more about Tom than she's letting on. What's going on?
Well, this is where the psychological thriller stuff really comes in. You know, we're starting to see these themes of like obsession and manipulation. Just think about it. Tom is fixated on this girl from his past, and he can't let go of this perfect image he has of her.
Right.
And then you have Gretchen, who's obviously obsessed with Tom and will do anything to get him back.
Yeah, it's like a crazy love triangle that's been going on for years. And the scariest part is that they're both so good at manipulating people. They can be super charming one minute and then threatening the next.
Exactly. They're both so unpredictable, which makes them even more dangerous. And their obsessions have totally messed up their sense of reality. They're so focused on what they want that they'll hurt anyone who gets in their way.
And poor Sydney is stuck in the middle of all of this. She's literally trapped in Gretchen's apartment with Tom and Randy, who's unconscious. We can talk about a nightmare. And then Gretchen reveals that she drugged Sydney's water.
Yeah, that's when you realize that Gretchen isn't just obsessed. She's dangerous, too. She'll do anything to get what she wants, and she's definitely playing some kind of messed up game. But the biggest shock comes when Gretchen tells Sydney who she really is.
Wait, what do you mean?
Remember how Tom was obsessed with this girl from his past, the one he couldn't forget? Well, that girl's Gretchen.
No way. So Tom has been in love with Gretchen all this time, and she's been using that to manipulate him.
Exactly. She's been playing him perfectly, feeding his obsession and using it to control him. It changes the entire story and makes you question everything you thought you knew about these characters.
Wow, that's a huge twist. So what happens next? Does Sydney escape from Gretchen?
What I don't want to spoil the ending, but let's just say things get pretty crazy. There's a fire, a fight, and a lot of blood. McFadden knows how to keep you on the edge of your seat.
I can't believe it. I need to read this book right now. You've told me just enough to make me want to devour it.
That's the point of a good deep dive, right? To spark that curiosity and leave you wanting more, and trust me, The Boyfriend delivers.
Well, folks, there you have it. we've gone deep into the twisted world of the boyfriend, explored its dark themes, and uncovered some shocking secrets. But remember, this was just a taste. To really experience the full impact of Frida McFadden's amazing writing, you'll have to pick up the book yourself.
If you take away one thing from our deep dive, it should be this. Be careful who you trust, especially when it comes to online dating. You never know who might be hiding behind that perfect profile picture.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us on this wild ride, and be sure to tune in next time for another deep dive into the world of books. Until then, happy reading.